going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Talking Halos. I'm your host today, Jared Timms, and I'm joined alongside my co-host, my partner in crime, Nate Green. Nate, it's usually an off-season thing. We usually don't get people talking with us during the season, but we're gonna have a guest today. So, Nate, I'm gonna forget about you for a little while and introduce our guest, Jaden Hardin. Jaden, how you doing, my friend?
Jared, what's going on, man? All is well. I'm out here enjoying this beautiful sun here in Atlanta, man. So I can't complain, man. Just getting my day going here. So
No,
all is well.
it's probably a little warmer for you than it is for me. I'm up in Boise, Idaho. Man, I could definitely use a little bit more sun up here. That's for sure. So, for those of you who don't know who Jaden is, he is actually an agent, an MLB draft advisor for Cares Sports Management. He represents a few Angels who we're going to talk about here in a little while. Wanted to get him on the show to give his perspective first about, the background of being an agent, being a draft advisor, what he does, all the fun stuff that a lot of people don't get to see, as well as, talk about a couple of his players that are in the Angels organization, spotlight them. If you don't follow me on Twitter, I spotlight them all the time because they're doing great things as well. But yeah, man, Jaden, first off, where can people find you and Cares Sports Management on social media, X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok? Where's it all?
Yeah, no, most definitely. We have tons of platforms. We try to use our social media branding and management well. So, we're on all the major platforms, Twitter, formerly Twitter, X, Instagram. You can follow our website. We all have personal business emails, even a TikTok, man. So, with this new age of social media, we're trying to get our name out there and reach as many people as we can.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
that's there. Yeah, that's really where you can find us at. I have a personal page, and then I have, my Twitter, my personal Instagram, and just my first and last name, no spaces. But, that's where anybody can find me at on social media.
Yep. Yeah, and don't forget, go follow him. Go follow Cares. It's Kares Sports Management. Go follow what they do. Get a little background into what that side of baseball really is. It's really cool. Like I said, not a lot of people see it. Not a lot of people understand it. They just, and we talked about it before the show a little bit. Just everybody wants to throw money at players and things like that. And it doesn't always work that way, especially in the draft and things like that. So we'll spotlight that. We'll talk about that here in a few minutes of course. But I want to talk about Cares as well. Talk about Cares Sports Management. Maybe some guys that you represent, your guys' group, the agency represents, and things like that.
Yeah. So CARES was founded right around, we're coming up on the 3 year mark here. I was founded by Preston Chapman. He is one of the head agents. He's from Tennessee area, so he's a UT grad. He he went there and he was working at an agency himself, and he left and started his own business. So he opened CARES, and during my junior year at the school that I was at, I was in the process of trying to find internships, right? So I was a sports management major, and one of the classes I had with one of my favorite teachers at the school, Dr. Ferguson, she had us make LinkedIn pages and reach out to different people within our business. So I reached out to a ton of guys, and I was just looking, trying to just learn, mirror different people, just get as much feedback as I can. And Preston reached back out to me and he let me know that he was, going to be leaving the agency that he was with and he was going to be starting his own. So, he told me like, hey, it's an opportunity. You can start from the ground up, right? You can learn the business. I'll teach you the business and, we can grow together. So I started doing that my junior year. I did a junior and senior year. And then once I graduated, I started working with them. The other agent that works at CARES with us, his name is Hudson Belinsky. Hudson was a former area scout for the Diamondbacks. He was also the signing scout for Drew Jones. So he did Georgia. He covered Georgia for a long time. And, Hudson knows a lot of people within the baseball realm. So he worked at Baseball America too, also. That's pretty much where he started. I think he worked with Baseball America for a couple years, and then he moved on to a role with the Tampa Bay Rays and then the Diamondbacks throughout. So once he started, stopped working with the Diamondbacks, he was interested in coming over to the other side of advisement and agent. So he, came along and joined our group, and he's added a surplus of business, right? He's a very knowledgeable guy. He knows what he's talking about. He knows a lot of people within the baseball executive world, right? From higher ups all the way down to associate scouts, right? He's watered those relationships enough to where he can be fruitful and give them all to us. So, I've met a lot of people through Hudson. A lot of the people that I meet and scouts that I meet, I did my due diligence of going out to the field and meeting them. I try to just, get out everywhere I can, network to different people, just so, I can be a familiar face for people. But yeah, those are, the two people that we work with. Um, as far as clientele goes, man, we are on an incline right now at this point. So, we started to collect some different professional clients, man. A lot of high level guys within college in the advisement role, man. We have Power Five clients. We have top high school kids for these upcoming classes. We have kids doing good in their respective organizations as far as the minor league goes. So just trying to crack our way through, man, and get those big leaguers and create our army for the next couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, you're in a fantastic spot. You mentioned Georgia, one of the best baseball states out there right now. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable what Georgia's producing. And then of course you have the SEC, which is all over the South down there. That I'm sure that you guys are
Yeah,
probably all over. And that's again, I mean, if you watch the Angels draft it all, I mean they might have taken 10 SEC guys if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken, at least. So I mean. That's some of the best baseball in the world right there.
yeah,
Down down in the Georgia area, the South down there. So yeah, I mean, you're in a great spot for it. And no, I mean, yeah, for those who want to become, maybe an agent or an advisor, it's all about connections. Jaden just said
yeah,
it. Like all he did, he made a LinkedIn. He started connecting with people, and then one thing led to another thing, and now he's advising. So it's pretty cool to see that. So let's get some rapid fire in here for you. Have a little bit of fun with this, Jaden. Did
perfect.
you play baseball?
Yes. So funny story. I started playing baseball really late, man. I had a group of friends and we were tight knit, man. All my friends were really good at baseball, but I was a basketball guy. I thought I had hoop dreams, man. So up until ninth grade, man, I wasn't a baseball player. I started my career out in ninth grade, and I really just grinded it out and went about it day in and day out, man. And my biggest thing was, I was talented, but I never was like I want to go to MLB. My whole thing was get to college, get yourself a scholarship, help yourself pay for school, and put yourself in a position so join the workforce or what you want to do. I know I wanted to be an agent within high school, so I knew the closest way to get there was to get to college. And if athletics would be what would help me on that way, that's what I did, man. So, man, ninth grade, I was terrible, man. You can ask any of my friends that played with me, man. I went a whole summer, my first summer, no hit, man. I probably struck out like 3, 4 times every game, but I played, man. I did it. I played every game. I showed up, man, and then I finally my ninth grade spring in high school, man. I hit my first ball in play. I hit a ground ball to third. I got out, man. I got to the dugout. I was cheering. My teammates like, man, what are you, what are you cheering about, man? They just didn't know, man. That just meant everything to me. But yeah, I was a baseball player. I ended up playing at a college in South Carolina, HBCU, Claflin University. So it's the D2 there in South Carolina. I played there for all 4 years. We were members of the Peach Belt Conference, so we had North Georgia, Columbus State, schools like that, man. They were really talented. So it was a good opportunity to travel around the Southeast and play some high level D2 schools.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I did do my research. You were a pitcher. Give us the repertoire. How, I mean, give us a scouting report on you. What was
Yeah, okay.
it?
So when me coming in as a freshman, man, I was doing a little bit of two-way and I was pitching heavy in the fall. Tons of strikes, man. I ended up winning the first guy at the pen for Friday night for the whole, freshman year. I for the repertoire, man, three pitches. Four. I added one at the end of my freshman year that carried me throughout the last 3 years, but for my first season, fastball, slider, changeup. Right. I added a curveball my second and third year, and it was more of a 12-6 break. And once I really learned, because I didn't have a lot of mound time. Right. I pitched in high school, but I pitched when we would play like, a below average team. right? Just, somebody to go out there and get out. But, my high school coach came to me. He was like, listen, like, they'll give you some money to pitch in college, man. You're not, not like you're bad. You look like you know what you're doing, and you've never done this before. But he's like, man, just keep at it, work at it, man. So I trained a lot, I long tossed a lot. I went to pitching lessons with one of the, great coaches, Marvin Freeman, and he really helped me within developing pitching. So, that was the pitches that I had in my repertoire for sure.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah,
Favorite baseball player of all time?
man. So my dad grew up a Braves fan, right? And I got Braves flags all around my house. So with me, man, it'll definitely have to be between. Now, don't get me wrong, Ken Griffey Jr. for sure. But if I gotta go Braves, man, my dad just drilled it in me. Chipper Jones. Chipper Jones. I grew up. My dad was the biggest fan. He had all the jerseys. He had the cream throwback. Everyone, man. So I was real heavy into the old school Braves. So Chipper Jones definitely is up there.
There we go. I like it. I like it. Who's the best baseball player of all time?
I mean, Otani's making his case right now, man. I mean, seriously, it's hard. It's hard not to like that guy, man. I mean, what he's doing right now just as a strictly DH. And when I saw he was back on the mound this last week and he was throwing. I mean, when he has a chance to get on the mound and really throw and do what he's doing hitting, man, he's making his case to be the best player ever. And I'll stand firm behind that choice right there. So yeah,
Certainly the most talented. That's for sure. That
yeah, for
absolutely for
sure.
sure. So, did you favorite seed and favorite Gatorade when you're in the dugout, man?
Favorite seed, I'll have to go with barbecue seed.
There you go.
Those a hit, man. Favorite Gatorade would have to be the yellow one, lemon lime. Yeah, lemon lime, man. That's the one right there. When we were in the dugout in school and we make the Gatorade or the trainers make the Gatorade, I always tell them like, leave the blue at home today. Like, bring the lemon lime today, man, please.
Yeah, absolutely. And then last but not least here, did you have a pregame meal? Like I was always a big chicken guy. I had to have chicken before games. You a big pregame meal guy?
Yeah, man. So funny, it's not a meal. So one of my first outings in college, I had two roommates, man. They were up from the Virginia area, and they always woke up and ate fruit. So one of my roommates, his name was Rufus. He was hey, try this kiwi. He like, bro, eat this kiwi before you pitch. I'm telling you, like, I got you. Man, I ate the kiwi. I went out there, had a good outing. I think from that day forward, every outing, I needed my kiwi before the game, man. So that was my pregame thing right there, kiwi.
Typical baseball player, typical pitcher. You're superstitious, man. Just like me, just like Nate. We're pitchers too.
Yeah,
So I mean, you had to get into a pregame routine. If something worked that day, I think I threw six
yeah,
no-hit innings one day, and I was like, I got to go out at this time now. I got to go do the exact same thing I did when I threw six no-hit innings. So and it works. So yeah, typical
yeah.
pitchers
You
here.
got it.
Yep.
There we
Typical
go.
pitchers being
There
pitchers.
we
So
go.
I appreciate you doing that for us. Just having a little bit of fun talking a little rapid fire here with Jaden.
Yeah.
Onto the representation of a couple angels that you have here. Couple big names too, Rio Foster and Cesar Alvarez, man. Talk about those guys. Not necessarily how they got with you, because I think I know how. I think we all know how they got with you. But talk about Rio. He's had a fantastic season. Cesar getting signed this season as a non-drafted free agent out of Cumberland's there in Kentucky. A lot of fun to see an NAIA guy go, but just give us a breakdown on those two guys and the future outlooks and things like that. Because like I said, I'm excited about both these guys. I've followed both these guys now for their time with the Angels, and I'm excited with what they bring.
Yeah. No, most definitely. So I get into Rio first. I think Rio comes from Athens, Georgia, right? He ended up at a junior college in Florence, South Carolina, so it's not far from where I went to school. And he performed really well there his freshman year. He actually ended up getting picked up as a freshman out of Florida. The Angel Scout, Chris, man, Chris is a great guy, right? I learned a lot from Chris within my days of getting within the baseball world, and he really took a chance on Rio, right? it's hard to take a kid in the draft who's a freshman, right? And it's not at the biggest JUCOs, right? You know, Florida is an amazing program, beautiful program, and I love, you know, the concept of what they're doing. And I think they're on an incline also. But you know, Rio really went there and went about his business different, man. He had a great season. You know, Chris took a chance on him in one of those later rounds. Last year when he got the rookie ball, man, he struggled a bit. And, you know, it wasn't his best. And, you know, he came to me during the off season and, you know, he was like, hey, like, you know, I got my taste of pro ball, right? And I know what I want to do, right? We're gonna create a plan and we're gonna go through this plan, right? And we're gonna get you better. So this offseason, man, you know, we got him with one of our hitting coaches, Cam Corsi, man. Shout out to Cam. He's a great guy, and he does hitting here in Georgia, man. He does a phenomenal job. We got him hitting with Cam for a couple sessions in the off season, and he also ended up working out at a facility, Redefine Fitness, and they, you know, created a plan for him that was strategic for Rio, right? You know, he wanted to form his body a little better, get stronger, get faster, and, you know, really hone in on his game, right? So he came back spring training, man, and he was hitting some baseballs super far, right? And I was starting to hear some buzz around his name. And my biggest thing with Rio is I know he's got the talent, right? I know he can be a big leaguer. He needs to generate some buzz with his name, right? He needs people talking about him. He needs something that the fans can look forward to. I mean, because if you think about it, if there's only 20 rounds and we're talking about a kid who went in the later rounds, right? Most fans know about those first, second, third, fourth rounders, right? They're not really doing most of their research in the 16th, 17th, 18th rounders. Now, mind you, those are great baseball players also, but we're talking about from a fan base point. So spring training, man, he was doing a great job. He got sent the rookie ball, and he was on that rookie ball team. He was hitting cleanup for most of the year, man. I kept up with Rio every day, texted him every game. You know, I kept up with the stats. I wanted just to make sure, just to see, you know, how he was doing. What was his approach mentally, right? What are we trying to do here? So Rio was seeing the ball really well, man, really well. He ended the season off on a high note, right? He got shipped out the low A out there in California. Since he's been there, man, he's really showing his skills off, man. I think he's one of the more talented kids in the organization, man. I truly respect the Angels organization. I think they're doing a great job with the kids that they have, man. But I think that, you know, he has a chance to really make a name for himself, right? And it's not going to be tomorrow in the big leagues, or he's not going to be moved up tomorrow. But in the coming years, as he progresses and gets older, you got to think this kid's still 21, right? He got drafted super young. So he's still really growing and developing. If you're thinking about it, he could be a junior at somebody's D1 program right now. Seriously, right? He could be a junior somewhere. So if we're talking about where he was, where he started, and where he is now, man, the ceiling is the floor for him. I think Rio is a great kid. Miss Cleveland, his mom, she's a great person. I talk to her all the time, man. Comes from a great family. Like, he's just a really good kid, and everything he has coming to him, he really deserves. So, you know, I'm super proud of him, the work he's put in, the strides he's making this year, man. I want to say he's on like an 8 or 9 game hitting streak right now, man. He's doing what he can on the low A team, man, trying to make a name for himself to try to get a case for spring training next year. So, that's my take on Rio.
Yeah, Rio's having a
Um,
fantastic year. I mean, and when Rio got drafted, he was one of those guys that we were like very excited in, especially watching him
yeah,
play. We said that the athletic ability is there. You know, he fits the part. He's a big kid. You know, he's going to put on some more muscle. So yeah, when the Angels
yeah,
drafted him, we were very excited here talking Halos. That was one of the guys we really spotlighted in this. I mean, again, some of the stats for Rio this year, he's batting 297 in both rookie ball and high A combined. He's got a 413 on base percentage. He's walking a fair amount. He's got a 133 WRC plus. He's got 18 doubles, 4 triples, and 6 home runs in both rookie ball and high A or in low A this year in Inland Empire. So along with 16 stolen bases, so he's really doing it all out there. as
Yeah.
well as playing. I mean, he's playing I think all three outfield positions as well, which is really cool to
Yeah.
see that too. So yeah, I mean, it's a kid that you got to keep an eye on if you're an Angels fan.
Yeah.
So and I've been spotlighting him quite a bit. I feel like week in and week out, every time I see a home run from Rio, it's like, man, the swing's nice. Everything looks really nice on this kid, and he projects very, very well. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited, Nate. I don't know if you have anything to say about Rio Foster because we really liked him in the draft too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I remember when the Angels took him, and I think that was one of the first things we mentioned was he's going to be a tough sign because, you know, like you mentioned, he could be he's going to be he could have been a really, really good Division 1 player. And you got him signed. So that was, I remember when Jared and I were like, ooh, 17th round or 16th round, whatever. I think it was 16th. We were like, oof. I would love to get him in the org because he's a big physical guy with a lot of potential. But we were like, is he going to sign? And got it done because the Angels have had a tough time signing some guys lately. So
Yeah.
credit to you for getting that done.
Yeah. No, most definitely, man. And you got to think he's as far as frame wise, right? I mean, kid's 6'3". He's big and bulky, right? But he moves really fast, right? Catching the eye test, you wouldn't think he's as fast as he is, but he's a threat on the base path, right? He can move. Like for his frame, man, he's really, he's turning into a true 5-tool ball player, which is more than what you can ask for getting out of him, man. And I think he's more determined than ever at this point. He's got his first taste of affiliate ball and really, traveling different stadiums, playing with fans and people screaming at you. And he's got it all, right? And he's really honing in on, okay, I can really do this, right? And his mom's biggest thing for him is she just wants him to always be level headed, right? Never get too big for the moment. She wants him to be the best he could be every day. And I know she instilled that in his head as a kid, man. So I'm super proud of what he's doing right now.
Typical mom putting good things into kids' heads. I mean, come on, what can you
Yeah,
say about moms? So, another kid that I know you got one of the best pitchers in the NAIA last year, coming out of Cumberland's, Cesar Avila. Again, really liked him. Really like what I've seen out of him in Inland Empire. Give us your take on him. I know he's a fantastic person. I followed him in the NAIA. I played NAIA. Nate coached in the NAIA.
yeah,
I coached in the NAIA. So a lot of NAIA background, and I think the NAIA in particular gets a bad rap because it's the NAIA. But man, there's so much good competition out there. It's crazy. I mean, we're going to talk about an NAIA player right here who's playing very, very well in Inland Empire right now.
yeah. So man, Caesar, from the time I met Caesar, man, he was, he had that energy that lit up a room. Like I did my homework on Caesar. I followed him a bit the year before, and I talked to a couple of area scouts about him the previous draft, but I didn't go all in on Caesar. I was still getting, my feet wet in terms of trying to, really get together and figure out how am I going to do what I want to do, right? So I wanted to make sure when I approached him the right way. I kept up with him. I know he had a really good year in the Northwoods League, and I had a ton of guys go play in the Northwoods. I had friends go play in the Northwoods, and they all had great things to say. Right? They have everything you need in terms of development or synergy. Right? They got the video for you, and teams can log in and see side view, front view, back view, and this is the stuff that they look for. Right? It might sound crazy to a regular person, but these teams really study you as a player, right? So when we're talking about Caesar from the ground up, right? He fits the part. He fits the eye test, right? He's a bigger guy. He's more on the taller side, right? Fluid delivery, moves really, really well. That year at Cumberland, man, he carried, to say the least, man. He was one of those pitchers on the staff that, when he went out there on the mound, we're gonna win today. And he has a bulldog mentality. He knows he goes about it as a big leaguer already in low A, right? And man, if I know you guys have probably had a chance to watch some of his outings in college, but just watch how he flows on the mound, right? Like he has that confidence behind him that I'm gonna get you out. I'm probably gonna strike you out, but more than likely I'm gonna get you out. You're gonna go back to the dugout. And his whole thing with that is, you know, he had dreams of being a big leaguer, right? He dreamed about that, and when I was put in a position to where I could help him make that dream come true, it was everything for me, right? He he started to get a lot of buzz after he threw that no hitter this last year. You know, a lot of teams had some history on him, but after that no hitter, and it was a couple teams there. You know, it was different people reaching out to me, different teams like, "Hey, we're gonna fly this guy out to see him, or we're gonna send this guy out to see him." And it's hard, right? It's NAIA. So if you think about it, he was the two guy at his school, right? They had a Friday night, and he was the Saturday guy. The Friday night was great, man. He was a great kid. He did really good also. Um, Saturday, you're thinking, right? If we're in Kentucky at an NAIA, you got the University of Kentucky right up the street, man. So, I mean, if we're thinking logically as an area scout, I'm gonna go to that SEC ball game to go see that kid before I go to NAIA, and that's no, discredit NAIA. I'm all for it, right? I got kids in NAIA, but we're talking about how they think. So when the scouts did have a chance to come see him, he threw really well. He threw exceptionally well. Right? He had the fastball in the mid 90s. He had the breaking ball, that knee buckler. He would go the distance in the game, right? If he started a game, you're probably not going to see him come out to the seventh, eighth, and ninth inning. Right? He's trying to throw the whole game if he starts the game. So bulldog on the mound. The draft came around, man, and you know we had different teams shopping around for Cesar. You know the age was a thing for a certain team, so they couldn't give him a certain amount of money. But we were just looking for opportunity for him, right? I knew if he gets into somebody's organization, he was going to shine, right? So the day three of the draft came around, and there was a couple teams still texting me, and they were telling me, we have Cesar on the board, right? We got him on the board, but it's a lot of it is out of certain people's control, right? It's a certain way they pick players, and that's just what it is. It's business at the end of the day. The draft ended, man, and I called Cesar, and I was like, I could hear the disappointment in his voice. He's usually energetic every time we call, like, "What's up, man?" But this time he called, man, and I could feel the sadness in his voice, and I made sure to reinstate to him, like, it's not over. Right? The opportunity hasn't passed. I'm like, you can go back to school. You still have another year eligibility. You can go out there and chase your dreams. And I told him I'm 100% with you, regardless of what you do. And I want to say, like, not even 5 minutes after that phone call, man, one of the scouts for the Angels called me and was like, "Hey, we want to sign Cesar undrafted free agent deal. Let me know if we can work it out. Like, let's get it done." All right. And he gave me the number for Cesar, and I called him. I was like, "Hey, like, you got an opportunity here on the line. What do you want to do? You let me know. All right. Do you want to take this money and invest in yourself and go at it and go after it, or do you want to go back to school?" And he's like, "Hey, man, we're going to be in Los Angeles Angels." So I called the scout back, and he ended up signing him and got him shipped out, man. And the scout told me, he said, they really like the stuff, and they said, he has a chance to move up through the organization quick as far as being a pitcher, right? So he shipped him out. He shipped him right to low A, man, and he's doing exceptionally well, right? I want to say his ERA is under 1 right now through 12 innings. Like, he's really bulldogging every outing, right? And the way they've been doing it, they've been increasing his innings every outing. So if you see, it's like a trend. He started at 1, then 2 innings, then 3 innings, then 4 innings, then he got to start. So now after that, it's like, okay, he let him go a little longer just to see, but strikes, 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 man. He throws strikes. He throws hard strikes. He throws nasty pitches, man. And he's like, he loves pitching. He loves baseball. He loves his family, man. He had a chance his first game that he played at Modesto. Is it Modesto, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The first game at Modesto was like 30 minutes from his house in California. He's a California kid. So, his first game that he played, man, he had a standing ovation in the crowd, man. The school sent a bus of people to watch him, right? His family got to come, 20 people. Like, man, it was like, it brought tears to the whole agency's eyes, man, because we know how hard he worked for this. And, for that to be his first outing right by his house, man, it couldn't have been written any better.
No, absolutely.
So,
I watched his first outing. It was he looked really good, and stat
yeah.
wise for him this year, he's 2-0, 12 innings pitched in Inland Empire. He's got a .75 ERA. He's given up 4 hits, 1 earned run. I mean, that's what you ask for out of a guy. He's just got his first start the other day, pitched really well in that. So yeah, no, it's somebody that again excited to see what he does, and from the NAI background too. I mean, you talk about NAI. Angels had Michael Stefanik is another NAI guy out of Westmont. The NAI is just continuing to do really cool things, and that's where what Cesar Avila is all about. Nate, before we go, I know you had a quick question. It's probably not gonna be a quick question, but a quick question.
Well, we don't need to get to that question today because
I think
I don't think we'll have enough time to get to it. But no, like really appreciate the interview and just to talk a little bit more about Caesar. Like you mentioned, he had one more year to go back to school, which is awesome, and getting picked up by the Angels is really a good org to go to if you're going to bet on yourself right now, just because they do move guys pretty quickly. Like we've seen Rio already move up to high or to low A, excuse me, and we've seen some of these guys, they go to the minor leagues, they're there for a couple of months and they're already in the big leagues. So if you're betting on yourself, this is a good org to be in. So really excited for him and his future.
No, definitely, man. And, I want to say I appreciate you guys. You guys are on top of it as far as getting content out on our guys, or really recognizing what they're doing in the organization, man. It's not a lot of people that really dive into these younger guys, right? Because these are the future stars of the league. So, I want to thank you guys for the work that you guys have been doing. I want to say keep it up, man. If nobody sees you, man, I see you. So, I just want to say that, man. I appreciate y'all having me for sure.
Yeah, we appreciate you jumping on and talking with us one more time. Jaden, tell everybody that's listening and watching where they can find you, where they can find Care Sports Management, all the fun stuff, social media wise, because again, you guys do a fantastic job. I love the minor leagues, and I said it's a lot of fun seeing what you guys are doing for these kids too.
Yeah, man, of course. So my personal page, you can follow me on Instagram at Jaden Hardin. Just my first and last name. It's the same for Twitter. And the Care Sports Management page, so that's KARES Sports Management, and that's on Twitter, Instagram, and also TikTok. So you can find us there. You keep up with our different prospects that we have in their respective organizations and guys that we advise. Man, we're all about promoting. So you can keep up with us there, man. We're on the incline. So definitely would love if people can reach out and connect, man. I'm open. I connect with pretty much anybody as long as it's about the business. But I'm open, so that's where you guys can find me.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the Angels drafting so much out of the SEC and out of just the South in general, they took a lot of guys out of Florida this year. Tim McIlvain, who does a fantastic job, I'm sure you've met him. He may be in that vicinity. He may live in that vicinity. I can't tell you guys whether or not he does, but I know the Angels draft a lot there. So definitely want to keep an eye on Jaden and Care Sports Management, because you just don't know who they're going to be representing next. I mean, the Angels, it could be their Angels' first round pick next year. They could have them. So yeah, keep an eye out for these guys. They're doing a fantastic job. And again, guys, if you want to go, please go follow them. Give them the support. You can follow Talking Halos on all our social medias, X, Instagram, and Facebook. You can follow myself on X, Jared_Tim's, Nate at NateGreen34. Guys, thank you so much for listening and watching. Have a great rest of your day.